So, I'm going to do one of these with you. And I'll walk you through the same steps we've been working with already. So here, center line is 0. Okay? There is no phase shift, so that means it's going to start still where it normally does at 0. This graph has, a period. What would the period of this graph be? How much? Pi, yeah. The period is pi for this graph. So that means now my key points will be every pi over 4 for units. Okay, so now when I walk along, I'm not walking by pi over 4 anymore. I'm walking along by, not walking along by pi over 2. I'm walking along by pi over 4. So here's center. Then I move over pi over 4, maximum, center, minimum, center. So that's what one cycle would look like. And then on the other side of this graph, it would look like this. Okay. Oops, I went too far there, didn't I? No, I didn't go far enough here. My apologies. Okay, so you try doing the adjustment to your key points for this next one. Just a heads up, let's make this, it's going to turn out funny if we use that scale. So let's turn this into negative 2 pi, and let's turn this into 2 pi. So change the scale in your notes. So I'll walk through it here with you again. Center line is still at 0. There was no phase shift. It has an amplitude of a half and a period, which is going to be 8 pi. That means the key points will be every 2 pi units on my graph. So that means for the cosine, I start at the maximum, which will be here. Then I go 2 pi units over before it touches the center line. Then 2 pi units over before it touches the minimum. Okay. So this would be that side of the graph. And if I kept going with that pattern, at 2 pi I would be here on the center line and down here at the minimum. Okay. So that would be as much as I can fit into the graph for the scale that I have. Okay. So now hopefully the pieces are starting to connect and make a bit more sense. Sometimes we're asked questions about those graphs that don't actually have a graph. So let's see if we can handle doing some stuff here and come up with the center line, minimum, maximum, and range of the graph. They're all connected. So can anyone tell me the center line for the first graph? Yeah, it's going to be at y equals 1. What about the minimum? What do you think the smallest value of that graph is going to be? Or if you know it, what would the largest value be? Well, think about how the graph moves, okay? If I have the center line here, what do you know about that number 2 in the cosine? What does that line here mean? Amplitude is 2. So tell me, what does that mean to have an amplitude of 2? Go up 2 from the center line. So if this is the center line at 1, it will go up 2 units. So its maximum will be at 3. It will go down by 2 units. So it will be at negative 1 for its minimum. So now I can see, that's the reason I wanted the center line, is so I could figure out minimum and maximum. That means it would have a range that goes from negative 1 to 3. It's got to be between the minimum and maximum, right? So try it with the next graph, see if you can come up with the center, minimum, maximum, and range. Okay, so here again is a reason why you've got to kind of ignore that negative sign. The amplitude is a 3. The amplitude is not a negative 3. There is a reflection, but this graph still only moves 3 units up and down from the center. Okay, so I would end up with a minimum value of 2 and a maximum value of 8. This graph goes between 2 and 8. So that would normally be enough, but for some reason if we stick a letter in there, everyone panics, right? They're like, where's the counselor? I need to change out of math. I don't like working with letters. So we should still be able to answer what those questions are if we stick a letter into it. So let's try the first one together. Center line? D? What are you talking about? D's not a number. It's not that bad, is it? Should be pretty easy, I hope. Okay. So can you figure out what the minimum and the maximum is going to be, even though there's a D in there?
D plus 3, D minus 3.
Yeah, exactly. Center line, drop down 3 units. Center line, go up 3 units. So the range on this graph will be from D minus 3 to D plus 3. Okay. So try the other two with letters and see if you can handle doing it as well. Okay, center line here is, negative 2. Okay, the minimum, it will go from negative 2 take away A, and the maximum will be negative 2 plus A. And of course, you could also write it as A minus 2 or whatever, but that means I'm going to go from negative 2 minus A to negative 2 plus A. And, all letters, not a single number. You can handle this though now. So that means the center is D. The minimum is going to be the center line, take away the amplitude. The maximum will be the center line, add the amplitude. And then the range will just be from D minus A to D plus A.